Mr. Ray here. In this video, we're going to talk about resetting the gyro. The gyro at times will start drifting, meaning that the gyro indicates that the robot's turning when it's sitting still. This can happen because we've moved the robot when we power it up, or occasionally it just happens on the table. So we want to stop the gyro drift, and we do that with what we call a hard reset. In this case, that means it's going to force the gyro to do basically the same thing it does when you power the robot up. And it calibrates itself so that it knows it's sitting still. So I'll give you a couple of methods of doing this that works most of the time, and then I'll show you how I do it, that it seems to work all the time. So let's get started. Okay, so now I've pulled up a new project. It's really pretty simple. I'm going to create a variable, and I'm just going to call it temp because I'm just using it to load stuff into, just to be doing that. So now I'm going to set temp to one of my sensors, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell a little lie. I'm going to use the proximity sensor. I'm going to set that to 2 for now. I have on my robot, I have 2 gyro sensors, one on 1 and one on 2. Now I've lied to it and told it this is the proximity sensor. Now I'm going to duplicate this, and I'm going to change the sensor. In fact, I'm going to duplicate it twice. Now, I want to set this to the gyro, but I want it to be reading rate and angle. Well, I guess I've got an angle. And the other one I wanted was angular velocity. And actually, I want this one down here, and this one up here. Now, I'm going to separate this out. The simplest reset is just to do something like this, and that I find that works most of the time. So now I'm going to unplug the gyro. I'm going to plug it back in, and I'm going to move it while it's powering up. That's almost guaranteed to give you make this gyro drift. And you'll see, if I can bring this up, maybe you can see this better. You'll see that it is moving right along. Now I'm going to run this program. And you'll see that it has gone to 0. That works most of the time. I find it's a little more reliable if I do this. Now I'll unplug it, plug it back in, and you'll see that this also works. So you can try any one of these. My preferred method would be to come back over here, get a repeat, and actually, so now I want to put a condition in here, and the condition I want is something equals 0. And in this case, what I want to put in there is temp, and then I want to copy this. Didn't need that, sorry. I just wanted the set, put that in. And so I'll let that run like that. And so this will keep running until the gyro angle actually says 0. The reason we do this, is my understanding is that while the reset is in progress, that the angle coming out here will not be 0. So anyway, let's give that a try. probably going to work since everything else has. Bring it back up, find my magnifier again, and you can see it's drifting. So I'm going to run this. You'll see that everything goes away and then the zero. So that works. Now this is the one that we use. This was what we developed on using the LabVIEW programming, an equivalent one. And it was the only one that we ran that worked all the time. The others worked almost always, but there seems to be some difference in gyros. The gyro that I'm resetting here is what we would call an N3. If you look on the bottom of the gyro, you'll see 4 characters, the last 2 of which are N and something. N3 is an older gyro. The one on gyro on number 1 is it's either an N5 or an N6. I forget which one. But this seems to work on all of them. The only thing left that we might want to do is it would really be kind of handy to have this be a My Block so that I could tell it which gyro I wanted to reset. So let's make it into a My Block. So first we got to create a My Block. Got to give the My Block a name, so I'm going to say Gyro Calibrate. Don't know if that's really the best word to use, but that seems to be the common. And then I'm going to say port. Now this is all in the name, but I find it convenient to put this here because I'm going to add an input. And I'm going to call that port. But you'll see in a moment that when I pull this My Block out to use it, this hole will be blank. So it's nice to have this here just to remind me. So that's it. I've now created the My Block and it has nothing in it. And if you notice over here, if I were to pull it out, this is what I was talking about. This hole is empty, so this port kind of allows you to name that one. And I will just leave that there for the moment. And what I really want to do here with this is I want to put all of this over here. But where the 2 is, I want to use port. Now I have a My Block that will let me reset any gyro. All I have to do is specify the port. So let's pull this down here now. And we'll say port 2 again, just to do what we did before. Unplug this and plug it back in. Bring this up so you can see that it is, in fact, drifting. Not real fast, but it is drifting. So I'm going to try and run this. And you will see it reset it to 0. Now I could also, I will cause both gyros to drift. Let me get this off. So I'm going to plug this one, plug it back in, if I can. It's drifting, I'll unplug the one, plug it back in, wiggle my robot, which you can't see. Now you'll see that both of them are drifting. One of the things that we probably want to add to this is in the controls variable, there's this thing called stop and exit program. Now what this will do is, if you didn't notice, without this, the program doesn't stop. I had to stop it over here. So now let's run this with port 2. It's running, has reset, and as you notice, the thing turned green. Now if I put a 1 in there, because you'll notice that this one is still running wild. Let's run it. And you'll see that it has been now no longer drifting and the program stopped. So that's about it. I'm going to add one more thing just for fun, if I can remember how to do it. Do you ever wonder how long one of these things takes to run? Well, we could figure that out. We can come down into the sensors, come down to the bottom, and we can pull a timer up and reset it. In a classroom, you only have one timer. So the only way I know how to tell how long this takes is I reset the timer, then I come to the display variables, and I pick up one like this. Better pull this off. I don't want the program to stop. And instead of writing EV3 at 1:1, this will be in the upper left corner of the display on the brick. I want to put in there the time. So I need to go back to here, come down at the bottom, and you'll find the timer here. So what this will do is write the time on the brick of how long it took to execute. So I'm going to unplug, well, let's just do it with this 2. I'm going to unplug 2, plug it back in, and it's drifting. I can show you that. Now, the trick's going to be is I don't know if I can show you the result. I can tell you the result. Okay, so this will write it on the screen, and since the program doesn't stop running, it's going to stay until I can look at it. Now it has quit. Okay, that took 3.1 seconds. So I've got the program up here about as big as I can make it and keep it all on the screen. I'll leave it there for a minute in case you are interested in looking at it more closely.